And this is Allen Hilliard here with Coach Barkley for going into the final week of the season there. It's been not the best season in the world, but there's been some positives coming out of this. And, coming out of the injuries here, what are some of the things after last week? Overall, was last week a fairly healthy week for you?
Well, we lost Braylon Scott probably for the year. He's getting his MRI today. We're seems like every week we're losing somebody for a while. Ian Shepard, depending on how he reacts in the next few days. Offensive line's pretty thin at this point. Of course, Michael went out in the third quarter, I believe, and so we'll see how he progresses through the week. So right now, we're going into week 9, not full strength, but I don't know who's really in going full strength into week 9. So we got some kids that are going to step up. They're going to get their opportunity and go out there and see what they can do on Friday.
All right, and then looking at this week, not that it doesn't matter what happens this week, but the districts are fairly set now where you're probably going to wind up going to Ozark unless something drastic happens with points, but right now things not changing about that.
Well, it'll depend on because Kickapoo and Ozark play today, or this Friday. So whoever loses that one is probably who we will play moving forward into the district. And we still got a week to prepare for Lebanon, who's a good football team, and they're playing their best ball probably right now, and we just got to have a good week of practice.
All right, so this week going into that, knowing Lebanon, a conference opponent going back 100 years literally to the Frisco League days. So how does that change things, facing, kind of the last rival that you had from the COC and mid-Mo days there?
You start the first 4 weeks playing the COC, but crossing over to the west side, and obviously us being new to the conference, the first 4 weeks were all new teams, new scout, new everything for us on that side. And, we end the season with Lebanon, who both sides know each other very well and have played each other many times for a long time. And, it's good to play somebody familiar ending the season. And, Coach Christian does a great job there, and he has done that for a while now. And our kids, they know a lot about Lebanon, so hopefully what we're going over this week is pretty familiar with them.
All right, and then last week, looking at the game there, some pretty good passing plays that we didn't really see this season here. Was that something that was added or just something that kind of came out of opportunity last week?
Well, we got behind the chains a lot. There were far too many penalties called against us, and we got to where we were more into passing down and had some success during that period of time at the beginning of the game. So when the second half kind of came out and Michael got injured, it's kind of, here we go, let's see what we can do. And our kids did a great job of it wasn't perfect by any stretch of the means, but they made plays. They got the opportunity. They took the best of it, and we're going to build off that and continue going into week 9.
All right, and then looking at the defensive part of last week there, quite a few points by Kickapoo, but overall, improving, it seems like, on some aspects of the game.
It wasn't perfect by any stretch. There were stretches in the game where, our defense played very well. We were able to get interceptions, stop them on fourth down. We struggled a bit with the quarterback run. So, there's definitely some things that we got to work on. Tackling, for instance. The list goes on. But, we got to get to the point where we are understanding what our job is and do our job and be disciplined on both sides of the ball and quit having silly mistakes or bonehead mistakes and, playing as a group or a unit rather than individual and worrying about stuff like that. But we got some good kids, and they're working hard, and they're looking forward to it.
All right, and it's that time of year when the JV side of things is kind of winding down also, and you got to start looking at, is there a few players that you start pulling up for that, or do you just kind of stick with what you have to keep on going forward here?
Well, with the way the injuries have been hitting us, some of those guys that could possibly move up are already playing for us. So that's one thing that we'll look at next week as coaches. After everything's all said, is there anybody that we want to bring up practice squad-wise or give them an opportunity to see what they can do on a Friday night? We haven't really discussed much of that because that's in our future plans. So I'm sure it'll be discussed next week, and then we'll just move on from there.
All right, and then looking ahead, not too far ahead, but going in as a 4 or 5 seed football game there. The winner will eventually head to Nixa to play them once again. Kind of how do you prepare for that? Do you just have the kids prepare for this week and the next week? Or do you have them say, hey, here's the deal?
Well, you definitely can't look past your next opponent. But, we're taking it day by day, let alone week by week. There's 2 football games that would have to occur between that opportunity, and we can only control what we can control, and that's preparing for Lebanon and see what happens on Friday.
All right, Coach, appreciate it. Good luck in the game. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Allen.